Hi friends, it's Angie. Um, I've been a bit quiet for a couple of days, but I've been working, as they say, behind the scenes. So I've done an unlisted video, and it's been a week for tackling things that I was putting off. But I'm getting into the mode of um, co-writing, trying to co-write my story. How do you write 64 years of it's so splintered that it's a challenge, but I'm just going to trust the process and trust God that the main things will come to light. And something I wanted to document, I think I'll call this video Human Trafficking, Mysterious Flights and No Passports. So I'm just going to recall a few incidents I recall. I guess the earliest one is R.A.F. Lynham. My father served, even though he was Irish, he served in the British Air Force for 25 years, from 1945 to 1970. And when I was 5, so about 1962, my father was posted to R.A.F. Gibraltar, and my mum got left behind, having just given birth to my youngest sister, the heir. And I don't know why mum was left behind, but dad was charged with taking the 4 older of us to Gibraltar from R.A.F. Lynham with a soldier accompanying. I don't know why they couldn't have found a WAF or a female soldier to accompany him with 4 young children. But at 4 or 5 years old, and my sister Fiona would have been like 5 or 6, Kathy would have been 6 or 7, Sharon would have been 2 or 3, probably 2, and Amory was behind with mum in hospital. And for some reason, we turned up late at night at R.A.F. Lynham, and we were told we'd missed the flight. Here comes my son with Friday cod and chips. Thank you, darling. Yeah, so turning up late at R.A.F. Lynham, we were told we'd missed the flight. And there was this bizarre scenario. I remember it, frozen memory stuff. I remember lots of soldiers, Air Force men, whatever they were, personnel, gathering round and saying, oh, it's okay, you've missed the flight, it's all right, you can sleep here and you can fly in the morning. And they put my sister Fiona, she's deceased, but was my Irish twin, 11 months older than me. They put the 2 of us in a cot, a baby crib. Who has cribs at an Air Force base, departure lounge, whatever. They put Fiona and I together in a cot. And I remember thinking, I'm too big for a cot. Why am I in a cot? And then nothing. So I absolutely suspect there was drugging involved, and I don't know what happened between when we were placed in a cot under protest, supposedly having missed a military flight to Gibraltar. The next memory I have, literally, and that memory is crystal clear, and the next memory is crystal clear, but there's a big gap, which is why the drugging thing is such a huge part of trauma-based mind control and fragmented memories. So the next thing I remember was coming into land to Gibraltar, and it was November 5th, Guy Fawkes night, bonfire night, as we say in the UK, and there were lights everywhere, and it was so magical. And I remember us being taken to our living quarters on North Front in Gibraltar and being amazed with the balcony and the rubbish chute. Never lived in an apartment before. So that's one, suspicious memory. And I'll just document the others because I've got lovely fresh cod here. Yeah, Southampton, Bournemouth. When I used to have meltdowns in my teens, where I would go mute or just not be able to be around men, or just basically melt down, like deprogram really, because having been programmed from in utero in R.A.F. Fegberg in Germany under, I suspect, Josef Mengeler's supervision. So I would start to deprogram, and what my father would do was send me off to his sister, a very senior nun in the Catholic Church. So one time I was being sent to France to the mother house at Saint-Sever-le-Vicomte in Normandy, and Dad was driving me to the airport, and then he says he got confused, and instead of going to Southampton Airport, he went to Bournemouth, or the other way around. I can't remember which it was, but we believed. I believed those things. In some ways, I think my mother did too. We believed the stories, and so he delivered me to the wrong airport, and then went in and found an Irish air hostess who put him on to a lovely private pilot who said he'd take me over no problem for nothing with no passport. So I got put on a four-seat, I don't believe that story now, I did at the time. I got put on a lovely four-seater, I say lovely, a tiny little plane, four-seater, and with this random man, pilot. And Dad was like, oh, it's a miracle, we went to the wrong airport, we missed your flight, but look, look what a miracle, here you can go with this man. And I went on this plane, and I felt kind of uncomfortable, and the man said, oh, I'd let you have a go at piloting, but this plane is only licensed for a Gale Force 4 or something, and we're in a 7, something like that. And he laughed, and I was like slightly alarmed, and then we landed in Cherbourg or wherever it was, and somehow the nuns that were collecting me from the airport had been alerted to collect me from this private airplane. Strange ride. I don't remember any drugging or abuse on that ride, but it was just very bizarre. And then the next one I've talked about before, being self-trafficked at the age of 12, so compliant and mind-controlled that at age 12, I was put on a ferry in Harwich with £20 and written instructions of getting off at the Hook of Holland, getting a train to Aachen, and then changing trains, and then getting a train to Düsseldorf to be delivered to a paedophile. You couldn't make this shit up, And finally, the other trafficking with no passport thing was when I was older. I was probably, like 20, and I went to Dubai on a 5-day trip with a manager from BCCI, supposedly to be offered a job by the Sheikh of Dubai to manage the opening of Dubai Airport and putting in all designer stores and so on, staff and, all of that. But the guy from BCCI, Saeed Chowdhury, he was obsessed with me, a stalker. He had photographs of me blown up and, just horrendous. And so when he said to me, there's a job offer for you in Dubai, at least come out on a business trip and consider the possibility, I thought I was being cautious enough by insisting that a friend came with me, a chaperone. And I did bring a colleague from work and a school friend, like somebody I'd known since I was 13. I insisted on bringing her with me. But again, we were ushered through the airport and handed over our passports, as we understood, to go through VIP clearance. So there would be no, who are you, what are you doing here? Like we were treated like guests of honor. But the thing was, we handed over our passports and we didn't get them back. So we were checked into the Sharjah Intercontinental, and after 3 days we realized we were in extreme danger, and we decided to bail and get back to Europe as quickly as possible. I don't think it was to do with the Sheikh of Dubai. I just think, the white slave trade is a thing to do with Dubai. And the Saeed Chowdhury one from BCCI, his obsession with me was dangerous. It was dangerous, And all in all, my friend and I, colleague, school friend, decided we had to get the hell out of there. And I do believe it was only by the grace of God and prayer that we got our passports back. We went down to reception at the Intercontinental and said, we're in danger, we need to get home, we need to go home now. And we don't know where our passports are. And he made contact with the palace. And by the grace of God, we got home early. I got home and I confessed to my manager and my general manager at BCCI. I said, look, I've really messed up. I went on a business trip with Saeed Chowdhury and it's gone horribly wrong. And, so those are just 4 examples of trafficking without passports. And Morocco is the last one I wanted to say. When we lived in Gibraltar for 3 years, from 62 to 65 approximately, and in that time and after that time, my father went on the royal yacht twice, supposedly for catering, with Harold Wilson and the South African Prime Minister, whatever, Ian Smith or whatever it was, just various elites. And there were tunnel issues, and the Donovan 21st birthday party on the Rock, where my 9-year-old, at that time, older sister, was taken to that party but has no memory of it. So there you go with the drugging again. But we would go to Morocco regularly, and I should do a whole nother video about Morocco, because it was very, very, there was always, or often, as I say again, an accompanying Air Force guy, single guy, just very shadowy, just very, why would Dad say, I'm taking my wife and 5 little daughters on a trip and we're going to be accompanied by an other from the Air Force. And then the drugging would, be a feature again, the memory gaps and the very dangerous scenarios where we would be chased or flee. So, yep, this is just part of my book. That's what I'm trying to focus on now, is to try and remember. Nobody can write their whole life in a book, but I'm trying to remember pertinent highlights. So that's it. God bless. The links are in the description, and thank you for all the birthday wishes.